Okay. Now I'm going to make an incredibly precise estimate here. If you believe that, well, you're a little credulous, okay? Okay, anyhow, if this is 7, then let's say I think 4 would be about here, 5, 6, 2, 3, 1. So units are about this big, so I'm going to say, okay, about this big, and this big. Okay, so if that's 7, that's 8, 9, 10, and this is 10, and this is 11. It looks like 10.4 to me, okay? Now, that depends on these units being the same size as these units, and when I look at it closely, they look a little big, so I'm probably off already. So I'm going to say, though, that my estimate is 10.4, and then if I bring 4 down here, let's see, this would be -4, so -2 would be here, halfway between -2 and -3 would be here, and this looks like -2.6. Now, I'm actually doing this with decimal approximations, okay? I ask you to do things with fractions well, let's see how it works, okay? Because we have to know how to do that too. Okay, so we have y for this substituting all I do is replace y by the y coordinate and x by the x coordinate, right? Okay. Now, I don't like to deal with fractions, and I don't want to deal with decimals either. Okay? So what I can do is I can multiply both sides of this equation by 10, and that's going to get rid of my decimals, isn't it? So I'm going to say, okay, well, 10 times -2.6 equals 10 times the quantity, -4/7 times 10.4 plus 4. Being sure I multiply 10 by both sides of the equation. And that gives me -26 equals, well, 10 times -4/7 times 10.4. Okay, my multiplication by 10 I'll put at the end of this thing because I don't want to take up too much space. And then 10 times 4 is 40. So I get -26 equals -4/7 of 104 plus 40. It's starting to look like a little bit of a mess, but it really isn't. Okay? So maybe you remember how to clear your decimals, and maybe you don't, but it's much easier to work with whole numbers than it is to work with decimals. And when you're dealing with equations, you can do that. Just multiply by power of 10 that's big enough to clear out your decimals. Okay, so I'm not going to go too deep into that point, but now what we want to do, we have a fraction. What do you have to do with an equation when you have a denominator? You multiply both sides by that denominator. So we're going to do 7 times -26 equals 7 times -4/7 times 104 plus 40. Being sure that I do multiplication by the entire side, not just by whatever term on that side we happen to be focused on, okay? Got to be careful, because that's a common error. You know, you'll multiply this by 7, because it gets rid of the 7 there, that's what you want to do, and forget to multiply this by the 7, if you don't write out this step in detail. You need to write out these steps in detail. Okay, well, this is, I think, negative 182. You can take the calculator and check me. And this is going to be, well, 7 divided by 7 is just 1, and then it's negative 4 times 104, which is negative 416, plus 280. So now it's just a simple arithmetic. And turns out I got kind of close, but not too bad. And not too bad, but nothing to brag about, okay? So all my bragging about my incredible ability to make these estimates, well, I just set myself up. Now, sometimes it works out. Sometimes it comes out closer than I think it will, but not bad. It's not great. Okay, so anyhow, we get here negative 136. Okay? Well, 136 is about 70%, maybe even close to 80% of this. Okay? So, it's about 70% or 80% of negative 182. So not too bad. But not great. Okay? So we conclude that this point checks out. It's pretty close, but it's not on the line. Okay? Now, at least one of you estimated 10.3, which, of course, if I round these off to the nearest whole number, is exactly what we get. Okay? So 10.3 would be easier, and integers are easier. But if you do fractions and decimals, you can still do it if you remember a couple of principles. Okay? Now if you had 10.3, let's see, negative 3, this would be negative 3, and negative 47 plus 28. Negative 21. Negative 40, and 28 is negative 12. That'd be negative 21. That's not as close as I would have thought, but it's not bad. Okay, well, anyhow, I'm going to ignore what I just did there, because I'm not sure I did everything right in my head. If we want to know the value of y when x equals 10, can we do that? Okay, so we've got okay. Now showing you what you can do with the equation of the line, some of the things you can do, okay? So if we have a value of x or y, we can actually find the coordinate that puts a point right on the line, okay? We can estimate coordinates and plug in and see kind of how close they are. You know, what percent would this be of this, okay? Not a bad measure of how close we got. And if you're up, fairly close to 100%, even a little over, a little under 100%, it's not bad. And it reinforces the idea that this equation tells you what points are on the line. Okay, well, if we're going to find y of x equals 10, substitute x equals 10, and solve for y. So we have y equals -4/7 of 10 plus 4. Okay. Now, in this case, we're not going to multiply both sides by 7, although we could. Well, actually, I'm going to go ahead and do it because I kind of say kind of a general rule. Okay. We get 7y equals -40 plus 28. Now, I've got 3 dots here indicating there's a step you want to do here where you multiply both sides by 7, right? So it'd be 7 times this and 7 times this whole thing in parentheses. If you do, if I did this right, you can always check me, then you're going to get this. So 7y equals -12, y equals -12 over 7, which is -1 5/7. Doesn't fit very well with my picture here. Shows you something about why my estimates were screwed up. Now see, I missed this point when I drew the line, so it doesn't quite have enough slope. Of course, that would make the estimate lower, so something's a little messed up, but that's okay. Okay, we get this in any case. And then we can check. Substitute y equals -12/7 and x equals 10 to get, and of course we come on up here and see what we get. Because that doesn't fit with my picture very well. I'm a little suspicious of it. I don't see anything wrong with it though. Pretty sure it's right. Let's see if it works. Okay, so we get -12/7 equals 4/7 of 10 plus 4. So that's 7 times -12/7 equals 7 times 4/7 times 10 plus 4. So that -12 equals that 40. It's -4/7. So it's -40 plus 28, so -12 equals -12. This checks. So the point -12/7, sorry, 10 -12/7 is on the line. Okay. Well, that's a whole lot about the equation of a line through 2 intercepts. Okay. Now there's more, as you'll see. Of course, this is still stuff that we assume that you know when you come into this course. Now, we don't really assume that. I know there are things you do and things you don't know. Something you should have seen in your prerequisite courses. So, when you see a little bit more of it in the homework, it should come back to you. Okay? What we've done here is we've set the context. The Open Math is going to give you a lot of videos and support, so you should have what you need to do the homework. So please do it, because that's how you learn what you need so we can begin learning intermediate algebra. Okay? So, Very good. I will see you next time and look forward to seeing your work.